come, the tiger moths. Look at them, and they're coming across, the four of them followed by the moth miner, the low-winged moth miner. Well, the formation that they're flying is a very loose one today because it's very, very windy, but that's not the only reason. They can fly much tighter than that if they wanted to. In each case, you'll see you've got a beautiful view of the pilots sitting up where they are. A little bit of that was the camera here. Them rolling. What a symphony of sound, eh? What up to you is money rather than this money. You've got very high operating. Very much. That's a particularly lovely sound. Those Pratt & Whitney flash down. Well, I think it's...
Bit of a breeze there, it's blowing him away a little bit quickly, but he's an expert, a professional, and so he comes back upside down and repositions. Now that's a difficult one, an outside inverted turn. Quite interesting, usually late in the afternoon at Ardmore, any time from about 4 o'clock onwards, you'll see Richard take off and display, doing his practice. And there you go, that looked as though it could have been the launch of it. I just missed a bit of it. Great way to lose weight, ladies and gentlemen. You go up and fly in that aeroplane and do the routine. Guaranteed losing your surplus really quickly. Yeah, upwards into a vertical roll. That was a launch of it. And a lovely roll. Straight up into the climb. Other people's call it a KiwiFM. Basically, it's a vertical figure of 8. The aircraft you see today is painted in the colours of the Territorial Air Force, as operated by a unit of the South Island of New Zealand, so it's an authentic New Zealand scheme, which is part of the way warbirds like to present their aeroplanes. Very precise, slow roll. That manoeuvre is a very difficult one to perform because the nose keeps wanting to drop. The aircraft keeps wanting to point to the ground because of that dreadful thing called gravity, and requires a lot of skill to keep your power and keep your power up, and keep the nose above the horizon so that it doesn't drop down. Slow rolls are very difficult to perform on a low-level basis like that. However, in the hands of a professional, no problem. From your right, he's coming in again, Trevor. I can see now he's got that big smile on his face behind that oxygen mask. He's breathing oxygen today. An extremely pleasant sound, a beautiful looking aeroplane. You've heard me talk about it before. I'll say it again. If an aeroplane looks good, it normally will fly well, and I think the 351 Mustang, an aeroplane that was designed in 48 days. How about that? 48 days from design to completion for the first one. Very low level run. And they built up quite a bit of speed on that run, pull up the vertical again, and the vertical roll. Has an extremely sensitive touch in an aeroplane and is recognised by all his fellows as being a pilot of pretty well perfect handling skills. Very gentle, not forceful. Don't need to be forceful to fly well.
The other thing too here, Wayne, is the ability to climb from, when he was doing it, from a 747B and then into the Mustang for a display like this. But then again too, he flies the helicopter, so as an all-round airman, you wouldn't have to look any further than the one you're watching right now. Affectionately known as TT because of his initials, Trevor Land, TT, and President of the New Zealand Warbirds Association. Wayne.
Thank you, Bill. Applying a lot of power for another fast run. And he'll throttle back now. You might hear it. No, he hasn't at this point. He hasn't finished quite yet. He's going to do something again. After the war, of course, you can imagine there were thousands of these aeroplanes lying all over airfields all over the world, mainly in America and the UK. New Zealand got a few in the late 40s. They were operated for a very short period of time in the Royal New Zealand Air Force, and then they were put into storage, then reissued to the Territorial Air Force as it was then, the weekend wonders. And for very political reasons, which is too controversial to go into, the aircraft was withdrawn from service, and most of them were either broken up or sold overseas. This one comes from the United States, and it's here for good, we hope, with your help. Don't forget the Mustang raffle, $5 a ticket at the Mustang tent, the Warbird tent, and that'll be drawn this afternoon, and somebody's going to get a ride in that aeroplane. So we've got Trevor coming in from your left, short final over the threshold.
Did you take this time? Give him a wave. Come on, wave to him this time, everybody. Thank you a million. Looks great.
Very special. With this crosswind today, ladies and gentlemen, it requires a lot of skill to land a high-performance tailwheel aircraft, and you notice they're all handling it extremely well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we decided it's appropriate to aircraft has a 450 horsepower Pratt & Whitney engine. It's a radial engine which powers it with a constant speed prop, of course. Range of about 670 nautical miles, maximum speed of some 141 knots. Cruise speed about 117 knots. Rate of climb about 311 metres per minute. Has a service ceiling of 18,000 feet, and all uploaded weight for a day like today would be about 2,300 kilograms.
These are actually built for work around the Canadian Rockies, were they? Why, they're very, very rugged. We're having problems with Robert O'Connell. Now, Robert O'Connell has lost his father. He's in the information centre. Mr. McConnell, would you come and pick him up, please? Robert O'Connell, Mr. O'Connell. Would you please come and pick your son up at the information centre? Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, Bill. The aircraft today is being displayed by Peter Rhodes. Peter is a very prominent Warbirds pilot and well known to the aviation community. So his first takeoff, the first routine was called a short takeoff, a couple of steep turns, and now a high-speed run. Now from that high-speed run, he'll pull up into a wing over, and he'll dumbbell the aircraft around to the left, and the dumbbell manoeuvre should position them back onto the runway to line up for what we call a low-speed run. One thing that Canada managed to achieve with an aeroplane like this, and they did it with the Caribou, also was a tremendously efficient wing, giving this aircraft amazing soft capacity capabilities. The constant use of the flap in flying of this nature, and you notice the flaps going up and down all the time. They're designed for that, it's the way they need to work. A very low speed run, that, for an aircraft that can carry 8 or 9 people. It's a big airplane. The United States Marine Corps have used the United States Air Force, and until recently many of them were laid up at Davis-Monthan Air Base in Arizona. There's a few left flying in this country, many of them saw top dressing use. It's called a low-level flypast. Basically, they're injecting diesel into the exhaust system. It's operated by a trigger on the control column. They press the trigger, injects the diesel, simply speaking, into the exhaust system, and that kind of ignites. Now you'll notice one aeroplane doesn't have it fitted yet. That's the most recent restoration that's been completed at Warbirds, and that's Harvard 99, flown by Keith Skilling. And the smoke hasn't been quite installed yet, so you'll notice Keith will be peeling away during the next manoeuvre. Smoke on, and up they go.
and Keith Skilling pulls off from solo routine and number 5. There's an awful lot of practice goes into this. These guys don't fly like this by accident. An awful amount of time, big investment of money to get the skills they've got now, and keep skilling. Here's a natural point where that nose wants to drop down with that dreadful thing called gravity, and so he raises the nose up a bit, goes inverted. The aircraft doesn't have an inverted fuel system, and therefore you might find a right opportunity. Two private company directors, and an awful lot of experience. Very good formation. Smoke on. Now you get your cameras ready because it's a very pretty sight, this one. They pull up. There's your point. Take those pictures. Isn't that lovely against the sky? Bit of smoke trouble there on number 3. Lost his smoke. Side and allow the solo the crowd. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I was wondering. Yes, I do. The aircraft are being flown by James Dalziel and Chris Bellamy. And they'll just go away and hold for a minute now, while the rest of the aircraft who are waiting
Powell to ring Auckland. Have you got a pencil there, Mr. Powell, Mr. John Powell? Got a pencil? Ready? Let's go. Would you ring Auckland?
air crew, what have you? It's very handy to have aircraft like them and like the C-47, the DC-3. Helps enormously in moving our people around the countryside, and they're a delight to fly. A de Havilland design showing evidence of that pretty way that de Havilland have of putting an airplane together, and you'll notice that the cockpit looks very much like a mosquito. That's because there's not much difference between the canopy of a Devon, which is the military name for them, and it looks lovely against that blue sky, doesn't it? Haven't they been invited overseas? This team's been invited to perform overseas, yes, with Confederate Air Force's airshow at Harlingen, but we couldn't get there, or the team couldn't get there this year. I was fortunate to be there. So first of all, we have John Lamont landing in Harvard 65. Give John a big wave as he touches down. He's worked very hard as leader. His position, his job is to keep those aircraft right in the right position for you. Number 2, coming into land, Steve Taylor. Steve giving the last squirt of smoke just before he touches down. Steve delights in holding the tail up. You watch this. Keep back pressure on that stick, keep the power up a bit, and just fly the aircraft down with a lot of rudder being used. Did you notice that? Number 3, Robbie Booth. Robbie's determined to 3-pointed by the look of it. Very nice, Rob. Last bit of smoke as he touched down. Number 4, John Peterson, flying Whisker Alpha Romeo. There's a little bit of wash coming through here, but look at that for a 3-pointer. Isn't that terrific? It's a well-known aircraft now, I understand it. Yeah, there's a lot of perspiration in those cockpits. Those guys have worked very hard, Bill. Hot up there.
Oh, bet it's hot. Wayne, thank you very much indeed. We have with me at the microphone Mr. Graham Porter. Graham, admittedly most of the pilots taking part in here today
example of the raw power there, just hauling the aeroplane straight up into the sky.
But just while he's gaining height there, Wayne, let's tell you about some of the advertisers in the program. LA non-stop every day. Air New Zealand is the only airline which provides the fast non-stop service to Los Angeles every day of the week. And with other flights via Honolulu, Fiji, Tahiti and Rarotonga offer more services to the USA than any other airline. Air New Zealand, 7 times a week.
Thank you, Bill. Yeah, so we're talking about this particular aeroplane. As I said before, it saw active service during World War II to the latter part of the last 4 or 5 months. It was used as a fighter bomber, and a typical mission was up to 3 times a day. It was used against targets such as railway lines, bridges, and V2 rocket launching sites. And probably its greatest claim to fame is the fact that it was one of the aircraft used to escort Queen Wilhelmina, submarine design and manufacture. Very special wing. The designers of this aeroplane were the first to incorporate this kind of design, and you can actually take the wingtips off to give it more manoeuvrability for low-level ground attack work. Sometimes Tim flies in that configuration. Today he's chosen to keep the wingtips on to give it the full and complete look. That completes a lovely big loop. Age of the pilots flying these during World War II was probably only about 19 or 20. They had very little experience. In some cases they were put straight into the front line on Spitfires after about 80 hours basic training, which didn't give them a lot of time to get to know their airplane. With the cost of the airplanes today, it pays to know what you're doing. Horizontal 8 or the Cuban 8. Tim's demonstrating for you here today. Can you imagine a formation of about 20 or 30 of those flying over? It'd get the old goosebumps going, wouldn't it? There's one of these flying in Australia also, and another one about to come online. The Royal Air Force's historic flight in the UK operates about 5 of them, with a couple of Hurricanes, and of course the Lancaster. There are 2 other complete Spitfires in our country, one in the museum at Auckland War Memorial Museum, and the Royal New Zealand Air Force Museum has one at Wigram. And there is one restoration project underway. Don Sabritsky, operating out of the North Shore Airfield. He's rebuilding a Spitfire up there. So with a bit of luck, we might have another one flying in this country. The museum ones are not likely to be seen in the air. It looks very pretty from the other side, doesn't it? Many a pilot in the Messerschmitt at 109 saw one of those coming towards him, and it was the last thing he saw. Tremendous firepower, designed as a gun platform. You've got to remember that. It was designed specifically to fight, and we now just like to look at them as they are. We like to think the war doesn't exist. Hello, he's jumping his undercarriage and going around again. Probably wasn't quite happy with his position, so he fixed the wheels up. Vertical roll. And over the top. Pulling these surprises on me, Bill. Pulling surprises is alright done. He's doing a lot of things he didn't know anything about. Now that looks like a traditional bus brake. Never know, would you? Never know. Just comes in, you can see that very narrow undercarriage. When you compare it with the Hawker Sea Fury or the Mustang, you can see you've just got to have it dead right. And he's holding off, washing off beautiful, and touches down, almost on three wheels there, Bill.
Well, tell you what I have noticed, Wayne, is the intense interest by members of the Royal New Zealand Air Force. And
you compare that with a Spitfire. Very big, wide, stable undercarriage, and very necessary when you're landing on an hands and feet. Usually 2 hands are required on the control column, and doesn't give much chance to play with the throttle as well, but it all seems to come together with a skilled pilot like Keith. Here we go. Synchronise the fire of the machine gun through the propeller. So now we've got the focus triplane on the tail of the SE5A.
this is a dangerous situation here.
Yes.
And my tail, you brute.
And Keith's busy trying to keep on his tail. Busy trying to shake him off. Very slow speed action, you can imagine, World War I we're dealing with. Only some 10 or 12 years after the fitness in those days, although the method of testing it was a little bit dubious. So Trevor Green in the SE5A has still got Keith on his tail, and I think you might find that in this situation the truck plane has a bit of a speed advantage. Very close to 500 miles an hour, some 420, 450 knots, up to a great big loop. See about the amount of sky it uses. The aircraft is a big aircraft, it's a heavy aircraft, extremely powerful, and uses up an awful lot of sky. Those wingtip vortices always look spectacular. That's the meeting of warm air and cold air on the surfaces of the wings and the tips. In the United States they have one of these, and they have wingtip smoke. They have smoke generators on the wingtip, and he dives down almost sonic and pulls out this trail of smoke off each wingtip, and it looks mighty spectacular. It really does. So Rob's coming along now. He's finished his first part, which is a loop, and now he's going to give us a slow roll. machine like that?
Ardmore Airport in Tabacurra. Got the address? Private bag, Ardmore Airport, Tabacurra. Dennis Thompson International.
Would Sue Brash come to the tower, please? Sue Brash. And would Pam...
He's probably been doing aerobatics. He has that red look in his eyes.
That's a very nice Cuban 8, swallowing up an awful lot of sky again.
Your grandson is standing by the tower. You can stand over there. He would like Trevor Ward, your grandson is lost, and he's standing by the control tower and would very much like to see you again. Trevor Ward, Granddad, please come and get your grandson. Have a call for Brian Cox too. Brian Cox, pilot of the 152 from Ardmore. Brian, if you're near the broadcast point, could you call in? Here we go again. See here. Billy's coming through from the right now, and we pitch the nose up a little bit for a 4-point roll. 2, 3. Nicely, this aeroplane, and he's going to perform here a half Cuban. You roll out of that. See that breeze just moving him across the crowd line a bit? Just saw it moving across. Takes a look. Just roll now there, and he'll commence those vertical rolls. Wash off a bit of speed off the power and touches down beautifully. Nice little wheeler, very safe with a big aeroplane like that. If you try and three-pointer with a bit of a crosswind, you can get to the problems very easily with a narrow runway and this crowd line. Now that's got to be a bargain price. Thank you. That's gorgeous. Don't you worry, dear, we will. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much indeed. Well, at that price, Wayne, I couldn't let them go. Only $10 each. All right. Thank you. No worries at all. No, no problem. So, there we go. The information centre is there.
aircraft is made down in Greece. Operations out by every operator in the country, and who operate missions for a long time. We used to do this display with lime and have coloured lime, but unfortunately doing the dumps and sometimes there's great heaps of fertiliser on the ground and more lime, and sometimes it just didn't go. We've been overseas and worked in England and in Africa, and here's Richmond just on a very slow landing. And if you watch the taxiway that leads off into the end of the runway and take off again. We're not only working in this country, but we'll do overseas work as well. Out is 3 kilometres away from the company, out. Two grandsons of Wally's fly.
The whole family's on the run.
Flight navigation, they're now top dressing the forest, Northland, called differential.
Speed of 505 miles per hour. We were flying right by the coast here in in front of you, we have the DC-3 warbird Dakota, and you notice the scheme of that's playing there. Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. It makes a particularly sweet noise. Down the crowd line. And as I said to you earlier, you'll notice Trevor handles this aeroplane extremely sensitively. He doesn't abuse it, no jerky, harsh movement. Over the top, and you'll roll around on this one. No, he's not. Just completing the loop here. Now for those of you with your cameras, the photographers, get those zoom lenses fired up and your videos in. And I'll warn you before he does, and you pull up. 4 horsepower of this aircraft. Big 4-bladed prop driven by that 40 to 50 horsepower Rolls-Royce engine. And we'll see vertical stresses and strains on the aircraft components, and that causes wear and tear and reduces life. So everything's done to keep these aircraft flying. Another delightful roll. This particular Mustang has a little seat in the rear where the radio equipment used to be. During World War II, radio equipment was very heavy, and I can tell you one of the greatest privileges I've had is to sit in that seat and do aerobatics with Trevor. A lovely slow roll. Boys and girls have been about the slowest slow roll, approaching 40 aircraft, all of historical nature. Now here we are, a nice little photo of time that some would perhaps like to forget. Notwithstanding that, the number of people who come up and talk to me and others down in the Warbirds tent and reminisce about the days for the Roaring 40s aerobatic team. Now, some of you may have already seen this team performing at various places throughout New Zealand. As I indicated earlier, the team leader is John Lamont.
behind me, and they'll be coming in behind you too. So if you face the front, they'll come in over your head. If you turn 180 degrees, look behind you, you'll see them coming in. They'll maneuver. Oh, it is the Vic loop. So you can see a Vic or a V described in the sky there. North American Harvard, of course, is a very well-known aircraft in New Zealand. Been in service with the Royal New Zealand Air Force as a trainer since 1942-ish. And they saw service continually until the killing number 5, killing on now Apollo slot. While Keith gives us a lovely big Cuban 8 or figure of 8. Unfortunately, with the wind the way it is today, the smoke isn't holding very well. There's the big figure of 8 in the sky completed. And then keep through this manoeuvre. You'll notice that little hesitation with the French with the engine when it gets upside down. It doesn't particularly like that. It gets a bit starved of fuel. Ground line. So it's a good opportunity to get a nice coloured shot about this time. You watch what he does. He gives that rudder a kick at the top. And that's a nozzle twizzle. On the left of the figure 3 is just started it up, that Allison it's already been up to 9,000 feet. Had a look at 12,000 feet and then decided that it was too dangerous because of the wind speed, coupled with the fact that all shades of Pearl Harbor, huh?
Well, we all know what's happened at Pearl Harbor.
Tora.
And that's that core. There we are, the show's on now. Converting his speed to height, coming up over the top. It's very much like a real Zero. When you see them both together, there's only 2 in the world that are flying, one in Texas and one in California, and when you see them together, there's very little difference. That's what the New Zealanders were looking for when they were in the conflict in the island. The Zero's seen what he's against now. And keep into the tight turns to keep clear. Coming round now, doing about 150 knots, 180, 200, 230.
Yeah.
There's a bit of noise coming through there. Up after him.
A lot of ammunition going up there, too. Oh, I don't like the look of that.
He's getting closer now. Bill, I think I can't see from my position where the Kitty Hawk is, Bill.
The Zero's not far away from us, that's for sure.
Back in. The Kitty Hawk's coming in. No, wait a minute. He's doing a high wing over to the right. He's coming down. He's still on his tail. He's still in the attacking position. Well, we've got the band playing the right music, Bill.
Well, the band thinks he's hit.
Now he's got the advantage.
Fair sort of a dogfight, Tim.
It's a fair dogfight. This one, that little Zero keeps turning inside him, and he just can't get quite lined up. Oh, yeah, that's it. Well, I'm afraid today we've Mark Hanna has taken a fall out of his father, and following right behind, there we have it, two classic aircraft, the Zero, and the P-40, the Kitty Hawk P-40K. A victory roll for the...
We're working in conjunction with the St John's Ambulance Brigade to provide first aid. Had the undercarriage down and it's lifted it up again for obvious reasons. With this monster in front of it, who could blame it? Thank you very much.
Pretty typical for jets, you can never see them until they arrive right on top of you. So here she comes, passing the clean, that means the gear's up, the flaps are 87 knots, and not flying the Mackie myself. I wouldn't, I'm not too familiar with it. Over the top, and rolling out, it looks like this is going to be a horizontal 8. He's from Air Mackie Limited. An inverted pass. Very slow.
With crosswinds like this, we don't want to see the just an effective 747. Play it here. That is the barrier. The Bank of New Zealand barrier. Huge aircraft. Hard to believe, isn't it, that it is amphibious, that it can land on either water or on the hard. And when you see it coming past here, some say to them it looks a rather strange aircraft. We've even heard the word ugly used on occasions, but then the greater majority of people consider it to be a very, very nice looking aircraft and a very graceful one in flight. And I'm sure you'll agree with that when it comes round in front and closer to you. Very manoeuvrable for a very large aircraft, particularly when it's comparatively low to the ground as it is at the moment. You notice that the wing flaps are down, just assisting it in its slow flight across the display path. It's turning very gently to the left now. This huge aircraft, as I've said again, the world's largest amphibious aircraft, is just being shown off to very good advantage at this moment.
of its ability to be handled in a comparatively short radius. Here the power as the throttles are shoved forward. Now there's a good view of the understructure of it. Just a little more technical. Look at this. It's not up very high, but look at the way that the aircraft is just being waved here. Before turning through 180 degrees and rapidly accelerating to normal flight, and there she goes. She'll go straight up and then probably a wing over. We'll just watch for that. It will then enter a 6G turn on datum before positioning for a top surface flyby. Watch for the wing over, there it is. And then over the top, the Harrier enters a 6G turn on datum before positioning for a top surface flyby. And here he comes. If you've got the cameras ready, you'll have to be quick. This will be followed by a half Cuban on the top of which the gear is selected down and the nozzles rotated downwards. There he goes. So what is known as the dairy turn, very spectacular manoeuvre. Faster and faster, it does just the opposite. Now watch him dropping down, just gaining. At the top of this, the gear will be selected down, the undercarriage will be lowered, and the nozzles will be rotated forward to the braking stop to allow the Harrier to execute this very steep decelerating dive to perform a touch-and-go landing. This will be probably carried out on the grass. That's if conditions allow, just to demonstrate the Harrier's capability to operate from grass strips. Here it is. Now watch the decelerating, see him coming down, you'd expect it to be going faster and faster, but watch this. Down to the grass, with a possible touch and go. And then into a wing over to position himself for a 550 knot fly past at 100 feet. There he comes, and it looks as though we're right on cue. He will be coming past you at about 100 feet at 550 knots. Just over 600 miles an hour. Here he comes. And rolling in the process. Magnificent. That will be a decelerating 270 degree, accelerating fly past to hover again at the datum. flying sideways, close the show, the Harrier just demonstrating ability in the hover by flying sideways, backwards, people. Instructor on 3 squadron. The other 2 aircraft have opened fire. If he comes into the hover, the crewman will check that it's all clear below. Again, remember that this is only a procedure that we would normally use if we can't land. However, it's just all on the show today. Still firing the machine guns while we're in the hover. As soon as the ropes are on the ground and they're secured, back up, which you'll see very shortly. The APC as quick as possible and vacating as soon as you can. You don't want to take any fire that you don't have to. Drop 500-pounder bombs, CRV-7 rockets, or possibly just strafing the place with the 20mm cannon. Your employee's basic weight is about 5,700. Any of the undercarriage. You can't hear me.